Every time you defend yourself, you confess guilt. Not in court, in power. The instant you explain, you lower your crown. Power doesn't explain. It watches others choke on uncertainty. Silence isn't retreat. It's refusal to kneel. It's the sound of control. Picture this. In my last meeting, one of my juniors got called out. This looks amateur. He started explaining. The room stiffened. The critic smiled. Later, he got the blame. Now imagine if he hadn't defended. If instead he'd looked up and said, "Let's hear your idea." The silence that followed would have changed the entire room. Because power doesn't rush to prove, it invites others to expose themselves. The accusation didn't hurt him. His defense did. Because when you explain, you accept their authority to judge. And the moment you play on their ground, you've already lost. That's the oldest trap in power, thinking words can rescue reputation. But they never could. They only feed the fire. And every generation rediscovers the same mistake until Machiavelli put it into words. 500 years ago, in the courts of Florence, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote one line that still cuts clean. He wrote, "He who explains himself is already guilty." He learned what every ruler eventually does. The wisest response to accusation is observation, the difference between surviving and being controlled. He watched princes fall, not from betrayal, but from the panic of appearing misunderstood. He learned that power doesn't argue. It endures. It waits. It lets the echo work in its favor. Machiavelli didn't just write those words. He lived them. When the city turned on him, he stayed silent as they stripped his titles. Silence didn't save his power. It revealed who wanted it next. When he was caught on the wrong side of a power shift, they dragged him from his post, accused him of plotting against the new rulers. They stretched his body on the rack, waiting for him to beg or explain. But till the end, he said nothing. When they released him, he walked out ruined, nameless, jobless, exiled to the countryside. But silence gave him something power never could: perspective. From exile, he wrote The Prince, a map of control drawn in his own scars. History forgot the men who tortured him. It remembers the one who stayed silent and wrote what he'd learned. In this video, you'll learn to use silence as Machiavelli did, to weaponize what they can't predict. Every conflict has two frames: the accusers and the sovereigns. The accuser demands a reaction. The sovereign decides if there will even be a stage. When you answer an accusation, you step inside their frame, and you drop your authority before you speak. Silence keeps you outside their arena, untouchable, still holding control. Who decides the rules of the battlefield? The one who walks in as if he wrote them. When the foolish shout the loudest, the powerful remain silent. That's why the most feared men rarely speak. Silence is heavy because it hides mystery. Words spill power. Mystery breeds gravity. The less they know, the more they reach. Each word you withhold pulls them closer, trying to solve you. But the more they reach, the deeper they fall into the fog you've built. Every word you give burns a hole in the fog. Curiosity turns to unease. Unease turns to obedience. That's the secret. Mystery isn't protection. It's control disguised as distance. Every silence makes them reveal themselves first. But remember, mystery fades fast. Talk too long, and they start to see what's underneath. Think back. When was the last time you tried to explain yourself to someone who'd already judged you? That's how power shifts. One word at a time. The strong speak last and least. Speak long enough and mystery dies with you. Here's the dark truth. People never remember the words, only the tone of your defense. They forget what was said, but they remember who looked desperate. The calm one always wins the memory, because power isn't judged in real time, it's judged in rewind. And when they replay the moment, the one who stayed silent always looks like in control. So what do you actually do? Speak once, speak last. End it. Power isn't theory. It's how you hold yourself when the moment turns hostile. In a meeting, someone questions your plan in front of others. Don't defend. Let silence stretch until they start to fill it. When you finally speak, make it short, one sentence that ends the room. Say only, "That's acknowledged." Nothing else. With someone close, they accuse you of something you didn't do. Don't rush to clear your name. Look at them. Let the quiet expose their insecurity. The truth always echoes louder in silence than in protest. Say only, "We'll talk about this later." Online, someone tries to bait you into their noise. Don't reply. Every comment you type feeds them. Leave them talking to themselves. If you must respond, post one dark emoji and nothing more. In public, silence is spectacle. Someone calls you out. Loud, certain, performative. You don't answer. You let the noise hang. That's when something strange happens. The silence starts working for you. Someone in the crowd speaks up. That wasn't fair. Another adds, "He's not like that." You didn't ask for defense. You didn't even look at them. But silence builds gravity, and gravity bends loyalty. They start protecting the calm one, because stillness looks like truth when chaos speaks too loud. Silence isn't passive. It's the battlefield itself. Hold it and watch them perform into your hands. They fumble for answers. They over-explain. They betray themselves. You do nothing. They collapse into the quiet you left them. You were promised a weapon. This is it. Silence is not absence. It is leverage. Use it and you move the power. But every weapon cuts both ways. The sharper the edge, the greater the risk to the hand that wields it. Power isn't safe. It never was. That's the part no one tells you when they talk about control. The silence that protects you also tempts you to cut too deep. Don't you feel it? I've already handed you the weapon, and there's still time left. That's not an accident, because power always comes with a price. And as Machiavelli warned, it is better to be feared than loved when one cannot be both. Love makes people hope you'll understand. Fear makes them certain you won't. Love invites questions. Fear ends them. And power lives in the space where no one dares to ask. So, if you want to know the path to greater power and the cost of it, stay until the end. Then comment and tell me yourself, what is the cost of losing others? Because that's the only question worth answering. Try it for a week. Say less. Own more. Watch what collapses and what stands. When silence becomes habit, the game changes. You stop fighting for control because you understand the traps your own mind sets. You're not defenseless. You're armed. People measure their words before they reach you, even when you're not there. And somewhere along the way, silence stops being a weapon. It becomes instinct. You hear what others miss. The hesitation before betrayal, the tremor inside praise. In silence, you found power. In power, you found peace. And in peace, you became unshakable. Not in the noise you make, but in the calm that follows you. Smile and watch them collapse. That's when you understand. Silence was never about them. It was the mirror you built to see yourself clearly for the first time. And once you see yourself clearly, you stop being part of the crowd. You become the pulse they follow without knowing why. They'll still accuse. They'll still demand your side. But now you know the stage was always yours. Don't defend. Don't explain. Just stand there and smile. Can let them collapse into their own noise. That's not the end of silence. That's where it begins. You hear it now, don't you? The weight behind silence. The sound of them waiting for your answer. And that never comes.